Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Here we are. Welcome in. It is Thursday as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. And, you know, I really am looking forward to seeing about today's show in general, because so many people, I think, for whatever the reason this week, everybody I seemingly talk to seems to have the same take, right? And the take is, man, it's only Thursday, man. Like, how is it only Thursday? Yesterday was, damn, it's only Wednesday. I feel like everybody I talked to in the last 2 days is having like the longest week of their lives at this point, and I'm not quite sure why that is.
It's Tuesday to me, Sparky. I feel real energized and ready to go this week, man.
Nobody asked you, Charlie. Glad you had your 2 days off at the beginning of the week, and you had your 4-day weekend, and all is good.
First 2 days off in like 2 months,
yes,
3 months too, though.
Correct.
So
yes. No, you work a lot. You work 2 jobs on top of everything else. I'm not mad at you at all. Okay, so coming up on today's show, how about this? Guest free. Now, tomorrow, as we all know, on Fridays, it is jam-packed on Friday, including Ben Solak of ESPN. I am so excited for this interview because he went in on the Packers Monday night for that inside zone, inside run play that they ran, and went and found like 5 or 6 examples during the year where they ran the exact same thing out of literally kind of almost the same formation with that back kind of offset. And went through into this whole thing on it. It was really well done. So we're going to talk to Ben Solak tomorrow at 2:20 from ESPN here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, Ryan Wood joins us tomorrow. We have Fantasy Football Friday. Follow the Money is tomorrow, too. So it's going to be a fun show tomorrow. But today, it's all about y'all, right? It's you, me, Charlie. As much fan interaction as possible. That's what makes these shows great, in my opinion. So make sure to hop aboard and be a part of it. We're going to talk Packers today. We're going to talk a little Bucks. The Bears are going to come up. We were going to get to them yesterday. We never did because there's multiple people talking about the Bears in this division as far as how they stack up with the Packers and the Lions. So we'll dive into that a little bit. We'll talk, hear from Matt LaFleur, who talked a little bit earlier today too. A lot of Packers, though, if we're being honest. A lot of Packers on today's show. So we're going to have a poll question at WI Sports Radio on X that you'll be able to participate in. And we are going to start it off here. We're going to do the topic now. And then we'll, throughout the show, check in on the poll question. And then we'll give you the final results of it tomorrow when we come on Football Friday here on the show. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, our buddy, he again, is out in front on this deal talking about the kickers and how this is all going to play out. And Matt LaFleur is interesting to me because Matt LaFleur, once again, like always, talks about the idea of players have their own choice, right? They can do as they so feel. So if they check in with a player and they've been cleared medically, he's going to rely on the player to whether or not that guy is going to play in the football game. Okay. He said that's their process. Process sucks. Because your guy, Brandon McManus, told Mighty Night Football, that's the healthiest he's felt in weeks. Hasn't been healthy the whole time. But yet he's out there kicking because you all are like, hey, you good? Oh, fine. Matt LaFleur, hey, if he kicks well in practice, he's going to kick. Meanwhile, we have both kickers still on this roster. I wonder if there's a record for how long you have 2 place kickers on a roster during the course of a season. This isn't a practice squad. He's on the damn roster, right? You got 2 guys on the roster. So the question is this. Matt LaFleur's already said McManus is kicking on Sunday in New York against the Giants because, again, it's kicking well in practice. If you were Matt LaFleur, and let's rope Brian Gutekunst into this too, because if Brian Gutekunst wanted, he could just cut one of these cats and be done with it. I'm just going to take one of these toys away from you. Boop, there. No more people asking you about kickers. I'm just going to cut one of them, and we're going to move on. Can't trade them because trade deadline's gone. Who would you have kick on Sunday if it's up to you? Your call, your LaFleur, your Goody. Who's your kicker on Sunday? Real nice and easy. Now, you can vote numerous ways. One, you can just go on X and vote. That's fine. You can use the Nicolay Law Talking text line and text in an answer, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Or you can call in your vote on the phone line. That's always my preference. Talk to y'all on the radio via the phone. Same number, 414-677-1250. Don't forget, follow us on the socials at WI Sports Radio. I was listening to 9 to Noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. And John Kuhn was doing his best to fend off Rami Makloff and Brandon Snide, who want McManus's head. Did his best. And John Kuhn talked about the idea that, hey, man, Mason Crosby was here a long time, but he didn't have all rosy years, right? He had bad years. And he asked Rami, he said, hey, man, be honest. Did you ever call for Mason Crosby's job when he was struggling? Did you? And Rami Makloff said, no. I don't think I did. Brandon Snide comes in my room. I did. A majority of people wanted Mason Crosby cut. Mason Crosby career field goal percentage is like 81%. Brandon McManus's career field goal percentage, 81%. Again, you got the points after that, but 81% for both of them. Okay. Haversack, the kicker that you got, he's only kicked in 11 games, 79%. Now, I know a bunch of you saw him kick and said, whoa, this dude doesn't miss. Gotta have him. My response is, why doesn't anybody else have him? They continue to have the conversation on that show. And Rami's like, I'd have no patience for a kicker. That's why it would be a complete train wreck. I understand people are kicking 65 yards in this league right now, right? I mean, 60 yards, people don't even blink. And that's because we've talked about on the show how they're being able to kick their game balls and massage the game balls all week, which now is allowing the ball to fly farther. So because they've allowed the kickers to do that now, different than every other season, that's why all of a sudden these kickers are kicking the ball farther. Okay, fine. You've already experienced the idea that there aren't a lot of great kickers when you had to go get McManus, who was out of the league, to come in and kick for you after his legal stuff he had going on. You already saw what that looked like. Why in the world do you want to go play in that sandbox again? Why? I don't, especially when you know he ain't healthy. He's not 100%, man. Everybody knows it. Apparently the Packers don't care. They just keep running him out there. If he says he can play, he's going to play. Let him go. Who would you have kick on Sunday? Nicolay Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Matt LaFleur has already said it's Brandon McManus. But what would you do? Let's go to Chris in Germantown. You're first up. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Sparky. How you doing this afternoon?
Good.
Good, man. I am not playing McManus. I mean, we've seen what he's doing this year, and he's not kicking well. I think the only reason that he is putting himself on the field is because he's afraid to lose his job. He's not healthy, but he's worried that if he sits, he's going to lose his job.
This is the thing. And I've said this before, I don't really care what a player thinks, and I would be a jerk of a head coach, I guess. But for my money, if you aren't right, then you are going to sit for 4 games and figure this out, and I'll go with this other kicker, and we'll go forward. That to me, that's what I would do. You can play it all you want. But when you tell me you're good and then you go to the Monday Night Football crew and go, man, I haven't been healthy in weeks, man. I'm out here trying the best I can with what I got. And then you, as a coach, continue to tell people, man, I don't talk to kickers. Maybe you should. Maybe as the head coach, maybe you should form some type of relationship with your kickers and communicate with them like the rest of the team.
Right, and that's the other thing. I think LaFleur wants to be, this player's coach and so on and so forth. But sometimes you got to step up and you got to be the one that makes the decision. You can't leave everything up to the players.
That's exactly right. 100%. Thank you for the call. That's exactly right. Here's a clip again from Matt LaFleur. Check this out. Matt LaFleur.
Well, you've seen what he is when he's fully healthy.
McManus.
Is there any conversation about, hey, we appreciate how badly you want to kick, but maybe it's better to not kick for a little while again, or is that not a discussion?
It's always a discussion. Everything's a discussion. I mean, we have our process is you have to go through medical first, and then the player has a say so and where he's at. And the conversations I've had with him have been positive, and that, hey, I'm ready to go.
This is the thing. Again, if I'm LaFleur and I see you go out there and you miss and you don't look right, we're going to talk again. And then you go, I'm good. You go out there, you miss again. And then I hear on TV that you're telling these cats you haven't been good the whole time. That means you've been straight up lying to me, A, or B, you've been telling Matt LaFleur, I'm not perfect, but I think I can go out there and kick. And Matt LaFleur says, sounds good to me. Or C, you're telling Bisaccia, dude, I ain't right, but screw that. I ain't letting that guy go out there and kick. You tell LaFleur I'm good. And then Bisaccia goes to Matt, because that's his guy, his kicker, right? He trusts Bisaccia. He goes to Matt and says, hey, man, he's good. He's ready. Let's go. He can kick. All right, Rich, sounds good. Thanks. You tell me, Charlie, how do you think this is playing? Because if it's option A, we got problems.
Based on what we've heard from Matt LaFleur and Brandon McManus up to this point, it seems like it's option B, where McManus is telling him, yeah, I probably could go out there and kick, but I'm not feeling 100%. I'm not out here at full strength. And Matt LaFleur is like, that's enough. And from my personal experience, that's how a lot of football coaches go about a situation like this. If you say you can be on the field, they're going to say, okay, you're going to be on the field. We're paying you a lot of money. We have to trust that the person we're paying a lot of money can make the kicks if he says he can make the kicks, even if he is a little bit injured. At the same time, I think Matt LaFleur, in the position he's in right now, where he is receiving a lot of criticism for the way that he's coaching this team, I think there has to be a tough decision here that you have to think about yourself selfishly and your job security and the success of this team over whether or not a player is telling the truth about his injury or not. So I think if you can see it with your own eyes, it doesn't really matter what Brandon McManus is saying. Matt LaFleur should see that he's not 100% because all the fans can't.
Matt LaFleur says he looks great in practice. I go based on what I see in practice, Charlie. He looks great. He's kicking. He's making them in practice, Charlie.
He's not making them in the games, man. He's not making them in the games. That's where everybody else can see it. And if everybody else is calling it out, you as the head coach of this football team who should care about special teams needs to start looking at that. And so far this season, that has been the biggest problem for this Green Bay Packers football team, is that their special teams has been beyond subpar, one of the worst in the NFL. And this is just another symptom of that. And Matt LaFleur has done nothing to figure that out.
Absolutely correct. And that is part of the issue. And I think you could argue, and I think you'd be right, that for many years, they did not care about special teams. They just didn't. They didn't want to invest the money into a coordinator. They didn't want to invest the money anywhere, really. And they were more worried about offense and defense and really weren't concerned. Brian Gutekunst gets involved, saw the train wreck that was happening on special teams, said, I am done with this. Here's $1 million, Rich Bisaccia. You're associate head coach and help Matt LaFleur, and you are going to be the special teams coordinator, and I don't want to hear any more questions about how bad our special teams are. Well, it hasn't worked exactly because there's still questions about how bad your special teams are. And then on top of it, now you've had multiple kicker situations that have come up. If I am Brian Gutekunst, there's zero chance I am moving on from Brad McManus. Not a chance in the world. I've already played in that sandbox Fine, he's had a couple bad games, but I'm not moving. I just signed this dude to a long-term deal. He's my kicker until further notice. And I'm telling LaFleur, I'm done with that cat too. He can go kick somewhere else because I don't want to keep taking questions or you taking questions. Somebody's screwing somebody here. Either Bisaccia is fighting to keep that second guy on the roster. LaFleur is fighting to keep that second guy on the roster because he's got beef with McManus or whatever. Or C, it's on Goody. And shame on you, Brian Gutekunst, if you're the reason that guy's on the roster. That's unfair to McManus. That's unfair to LaFleur, who's got to continue to answer these questions because you won't part ways with this guy.
I just find it hard to believe that it's Brian Gutekunst who wants 2 kickers on this roster right now. That just seems so out of character for him, for somebody who has looked at this roster up and down. And he's talked about it many times, like all the thought process that goes into it, that the coaching staff has to have a say in this. And if I'm looking at it from past incidents where other coaches have had the opinions put into the special teams of this team, it's always Rich Bisaccia. And I don't know, like, this just feels like another strike for Rich Bisaccia, and we're on like strike 17 right now for him. Like, he's way beyond struck out for this Packers team, and for some reason, he's still here getting paid.
All right, we got some text messages coming in on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. Aaron in Appleton, listening on 99.7 WNFL. I would kick Lucas Haversack. That's Aaron in Appleton. The 414 says, come on, Sparky. You got to remember when Mike Sherman had 2 punters on the roster 20 years ago. Okay, coach. Not a great coach. GM. Okay. That was Sherman as GM head coach. That's a little bit different than the situation that we have right here. And furthermore, I am too old to remember Mike Sherman having 2 punters.
Well, I was going to say, how does this guy even remember that they had 2 punters on a random team 20 years ago? That's crazy.
I don't know. I remember BJ Sander being god awful for the Packers that they drafted years ago, but I don't remember the 2 punters thing necessarily. Got another one here from the 414. I mean, Sparky, it's going to be McManus. Why are you going to switch now? Good. I'm with you. Then why is Haversack still here if they're sold on McManus? It makes no sense. Like, okay, I'll tell you what I have seen, right? I've seen a kicker who doesn't have the strongest leg in the world. Now, this is back in the day. Strongest leg in the world. They kept a second kicker for kickoffs and deep kicks for the stronger leg. So that guy always kicked off, and then anytime you got around 50 or more, this other guy came in to try and give it a boot to see what happened. You saw some of that maybe in the NFL. You saw punters kicking off in the NFL because they had stronger legs. Pat McAfee, for example. So you've seen that aspect of it. But I'm not seeing a dude just sitting there, not doing anything other than taking up a roster spot. And the last time I checked, we got some injuries on this Packers team right now that you could use that roster spot in a more valuable way than a second kicker.
Again, instead of making Bo Melton play 18 positions on the field, why don't you just sign another wide receiver? And instead of, again, wasting a roster spot on a second kicker that you're not using at all. It doesn't make any sense. You're stretching everybody else thin because you want to keep your kicker situation as healthy as possible. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Or get me a veteran offensive lineman.
Anything else.
I don't care if he's 35.
The biggest defensive tackle you can find.
Yes.
A cornerback who's been around the league. Like, there's so many other positions you could be focusing on right now to have that depth, and you just don't.
And you just don't. That's exactly correct, yes. Who would you have kick on Sunday? Matt LaFleur says it's going to be Brandon McManus. If it's me, it's McManus, and I am done with Haversack. I'm out on Haversack. Out you go. Charlie, what's your official answer?
I don't care as long as it's one of them and the other one's gone. Like, that's what I want.
So you agree you aren't keeping 2 anymore?
I'm not keeping 2.
Way too long.
At this point, McManus hasn't really shown us when he's on the field. And if he's telling Matt LaFleur and Rich Bisaccia he's good enough to kick even if he is a little bit hurt, then he's out on the field and he's not putting up the type of production that we expect from him. Haversack is a younger guy that could be put into this position. Right now, they're pretty equal in my mind. I don't mind either one as long as it's one.
Nicolay Law Talk and text like 262. They aren't sold on McManus. Only way I see it. Either with reliability or health, most likely both. You can't come out in front of everybody if you're Matt LaFleur and say he got cleared medically, which means your doctors and trainers said you're good to go, And the player, we're letting him decide if he wants to go because that's how we do things in Green Bay. So, okay, fine. And according to Matt, McManus's whole time says, I'm good, I can kick. And then tells the Monday Night Crew he hadn't been right for weeks. Again, if I'm LaFleur, if you're telling me to my face you're good, and then you tell them something different, you and we're going to have problems. There's going to be a closed door. Don't you ever pull that crap on me again. Either you're going to be honest with me or you're lying to them to cover your rear end because you've kicked horribly for 2 weeks. So now you're going to make up that you're hurt to cover your butt. I don't feel like that relationship is good to begin with.
No, and again, I don't know if that's fully Brandon McManus's fault or Matt LaFleur's fault. It doesn't seem like either one of them are really making an effort to build that relationship up.
In a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, more dippable. New chicken tenders are here. Some may call them tendies, and yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. And Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. New Wendy's signature, new sweet chili, or new scorching hot, or choose one of the classics, honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. Gotta have Wendy's. It's gotta be Wendy's. Take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. I told you this hour we're going Packers, Bucks, and then a Bears topic related to the Packers and the Lions from multiple different people talking about the Bears. But up next, I want to talk about last night in the Bucks. We're not going to go play by play and strategy this and strategy that. Watching everybody freak out on social media about a game in November without Giannis. And people are writing off the Bucks. Same old Bucks, not going to be any good. What? The question is simple. Should games without Giannis matter to you as a Bucks fan? Should it matter? Should you get yourself worked up? Should you care? Josh Albrecht on Inside Wisconsin Sports always says, don't tell me how to fan. Well, I might tell you how to fan in the next segment. Stay tuned. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
And he's third in blocks per game as well. And just a rookie, Miles Turner, nothing but net on his first attempt. Collins, A.J. Green, a couple of guys starting in the backcourt again. Miles Turner, 2 for 2 to open up, and the Bucks have their first lead.
All right, so that was Lisa Byington, FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin last night. Bucks lose to the Charlotte Hornets. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky here, Charlie Houston, other side of the glass. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to go sit here and go through and dissect the game like it was a playoff game or something. We're not going to do that because I'm not. It's November and there's no need to do that. But the beginning part of that game, I believe the Milwaukee Bucks hit. Let's see. I think it was their first 5 threes, I want to say. And then after that, they went like 4 for their next 19 from 3. Now, you are not, let me repeat, you are not going to do very well against anybody when you don't shoot the 3-point ball and you want to rely on shooting the 3-point ball as a team. That's the first thing. The second thing is the guy that we praised up and down all week long, Kyle Kuzma, decided to lay an egg in the one game where they needed him when there was no Giannis playing. Didn't finish and shoot all that well. Like it wasn't pretty. So yeah, that going against you too. I don't understand how Giannis, and they decided during the afternoon that Giannis wasn't going to play last night. Because you know what the next game is, right? Next game's a cup game. So we're gonna make sure
Means a lot,
we're gonna make sure Giannis is playing in that cup game. So we're gonna make sure he feels better than against this
Going
meaningless
back-to-back champs
regular season Charlotte game. He needs to be healthy for the cup game coming up tomorrow night. So, anyways, I'm kind of half kidding. I'm not even fully kidding. I'm kind of half joking on that one. So he doesn't play, and on social media, people are losing their mind. And as I was watching this, was kind of going along. Here, I'm going to give you a little heads up. If you follow me at Sparky Radio on X, if you see that I liked something you said, there's a good chance it's going to end up on the radio at some point. The next day, the day after that. But at some point, that means I'm going to use it. At some point, just in case you see it, that's usually why I'm doing it. I may not retweet it. I may just, like it. But at some point, I love Frank Madden. Love Frank Madden. That's my guy. Locked On Bucks podcast, right? Love him. Last night, he tweets out, I love that the Bucks vibes have generally been good, but 12 games into the season, this looks like a flawed, limited team, even when Giannis is healthy. Feels a little like the 23-24 team, and they defend like they know they can outscore you. But the bar is lower because we know they're not a contender. Responses. Patrick Wood responds, yeah, going nowhere. Fire Rivers and install Darvin Ham. The only way there is a chance, trade Giannis and rebuild at season's end. He will not re-sign with a year left on his contract in the summer of 26. Folks, I'm just going to let's just be honest with each other, okay? Yesterday, we had Trell on the north side that called in, and he said, Sparky, I'm going to give you some names. He goes, and I really think one of these guys very well may end up in Milwaukee. He gave me like 4 names, and it's like guys that are normally hurt and old that could be available at the trade deadline for John Horst to pull a rabbit out of his hat, right? So Anthony Davis, Paul George, Ja Morant, and there was another one. I don't remember. Do you remember who the other one was?
I can't.
Paul George,
Trae Young.
Trae Young,
yep.
yeah. And Trae Young. Those were the 4 guys that he said. And I was like, yeah, give me a bucket, right? Let me puke in a bucket because I don't really want to deal with any of that. But I said, if I had a big one, I guess Ja Morant. My point is that A, you don't know what John Horst may end up doing at the trade deadline because he's going to have at least a 1 or possibly 2 to deal with here, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you knew as a fan base, based on how they built this roster, that it was all based and centered on Giannis handling the ball and throwing the guys to hit threes. including your stretch 5 in Miles Turner. You knew that's how this was going to go. They told you that they're going to shoot more threes this year than they did last year because they were great at shooting threes last year. So now we're going to shoot even more because we think we can keep that percentage up, which is crazy talk. But that's been the plan. That's the plan of attack. That's how they're going to play. Okay, Godspeed. But when you see Giannis isn't playing, I'm not telling you to turn off the game. I'm not telling you to not watch the game. I am simply suggesting not to get worked up over a game in which they lose when he's not on the floor. If Giannis were to be hurt at some point for any long period of time, they're going to be horrible. Before, when you had a second guy that could give you still 20 a night to go along with your other pieces, you maybe could stay afloat and be around 500 until Giannis gets back. They don't got that guy. We've talked about that. So instead of adding more gray hair to your head or increasing having to take more high blood pressure medication for yourself or whatever the case may be in your life, don't let these guys stress you out when he ain't playing, man. The question is, should games without Giannis matter to you? Should it matter? Should you get all worked up over this stuff? My answer is absolutely freaking not. Do not. The only games that matter, if you're going to say the regular season matters, and it does for the Bucks because they're not going to be a 1 seed, so you're literally fighting for the best playoff seed you can get, so every game means something. Games in which he doesn't play, he's going to rest more this year, mark my words. Games in which he doesn't play, don't get worked up over. Just check it off as a loss. And if they win, you'll be pleasantly surprised and go to sleep happy. But before the game starts, like Golden State, remember Golden State? Mm-hmm. Golden State earlier in the year, they come to Fifer Forum. Giannis isn't playing. Everybody's like, oh, damn. And what happened? They played out of their mind and they won the game. Everybody was happy. That's how I suggest you do it. Do what you want, as Josh Alberg would say. Fan how you want. I'm telling you how I fan. I'm hoping to save some of the stress in your life. Y'all got enough stress in your life. You don't need to get all stressed out about a team without Giannis, because we all know if he don't play in the playoffs or whatever else, it's done. If he don't play if Giannis were to get hurt and be done for the rest of the year, how many games they win?
Not that many. Not as many as I think they win with Giannis, obviously. Probably.
So 41 is 500.
Yeah, I would say
I bet you they'd win 30.
35. I'd give them 35.
I wouldn't. 30 to 35.
I mean,
we'll go there.
Team without Giannis beat a healthy Golden State Warriors team who's not an awful basketball
you had
team.
To shoot well, like everything had to go your way, and to ask them to do that consistently all year, there's not enough talent.
I think it's enough to get 5 extra wins over what you're saying.
Maybe. I mean, I just don't see it. So should games without Giannis matter to Bucks fans to the point where you're all freaking out and getting stressed out over a meaningless loss against the Hornets? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. I ask you, Charlie Usen, do you think it's worth it to get stressed out over a game like last night?
I don't think it's worth it to get stressed out over a game last night, but I also don't think that means you can't learn anything from a game like this. I think there's still parts of the Bucks game that you're watching without Giannis that you want to see how they work. And there's issues with this Bucks team that I think is worthwhile looking at. They're not a very good rebounding team, especially when Giannis isn't on the court, and they're not a good rebounding team when he is on the court. But it got completely blown out of perspective last night when you're going up against a Charlotte Hornets team that is pretty young and athletic. They're not the best team in basketball, and they were missing their 2 best players too, in LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. So they also were not at full strength. So there are things that I think Doc Rivers needs to look at as a coach, that there's things that this group on the floor, each of those 5 guys needs to start working out a little bit more when Giannis isn't on the court. But at the same time, I don't think that means fans need to start freaking out over this.
So I do not want to jump in on game by game analysis, and we're not going to. I'm telling you right now, like, we're not doing game by game stuff all regular season. It's just not happening on this show. Other shows they may, I'm not. Because if I wanted to, could I jump in and go after Derry Bird? Could I jump in and go after certain guys that everybody get all excited about earlier? I sure could. Not going to, because we need a larger sample size before we start freaking out about anything. But the sample size of what they look like without Giannis means nothing. when you had Lillard and Middleton and Lopez without Giannis, you could maybe see how you get through a first-round matchup in the playoffs if you're the higher seed. Maybe you could survive it and get to the next round. Okay, that I get down with. But when you have what you have, come on, man. There's just no chance. Nate, north side of Milwaukee, is the Nick Laidlaw talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Answering the question, should games without Giannis matter to Bucks fans? Nate says, absolutely not. The team is built around him. It's just like if someone takes your heart out of you, you're dead. So without Giannis in games, it's a great chance for this team is going to lose 75% of the games he doesn't play.
I think that's a little much. I think this is still a very well-rounded team so far.
They're not 500 without him.
No, not 500, but I don't think they're winning only 25% of games. No.
I don't know,
You're
man.
such a hater of this team, man.
I don't know. I mean, if you just be honest, if they have to play without him, who's the guy that has to score every night? Miles Turner.
Miles Turner, Ryan Rollins has shown that he can be the guy when Giannis isn't out.
From time to time.
Yeah.
Right? So Miles Turner, if Miles Turner now is getting more shots, he gets in foul trouble. Who's your five? Bobby Portis, and then what?
Jericho Sims, baby. Come on.
Stop with your Jericho Sims nonsense. We went through this last year. That's not your point. Like, don't get worked up over this stuff, man. Don't worry about it. Now, they come back tomorrow night. I expect them to go out there, ball, win the game because it's Cup. They care and go. Nobody cares about Charlotte. Move on. I spent too much time on it already. All right, coming up next, a lot of conversation about these wannabe Chicago Bears in the NFC North and whether or not they're for real and whether or not they're really a challenger to Green Bay and Detroit in the division. We found numerous different opinions from around the world of sports media. We're going to play those and have our own little conversation. How much of a threat do you view the Bears as in the NFC North? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Love me some Potawatomi. Yes, I do. Potawatomi's giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs through November 20th, and you can earn entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
This is Charlie Hughes, and welcome back into Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Steve Sparky Fifer will be right back to get on the show, but right now we have to get to the botched moment of the day.
It's time for the botched moment of the day. Bad call, dropped pass, horrible coaching. Did someone say the wrong thing? Let's get to it on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Time for the botched moment of the game, or botched moment of the day, I should say. And then we will get to our conversation concerning the Chicago Bears. All right, Charlie Hughes, what do you think should be the botched moment of the day?
So the botched moment of the day, I wanted to head over to ESPN on First Take, where Dan Orlovsky was ranking his top 5 quarterbacks to start a franchise with that have been drafted since 2020. And Jordan Love has been a phenomenal player so far this season, and you would think would be in the top 5. This is Dan Orlovsky's top 5.
CJ Stroud, number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go Justin Herbert. Number 3, I'm going to go Jaden Daniels. At number 2, I'm going to go Drake May at number 1.
No!
I'm going to go Drake May at number 1.
No!
I'm going to go Drake.
Number 2 was Jalen Hurts, by the way.
This is the thing. Number 1, I get the Drake May love. And I think it was Stephen A. Smith that said Vrabel deserves more credit than Drake May does at this point for that Patriots turnaround and what all has gone on there. And I get down with that. Drake May has played really well. And it's, prisoner of the moment, I guess, with Dan Orlovsky, because he also was on the Jordan Love hype train as well, back, 2 years ago or whatever the case may be. Justin Herbert versus, Jordan Love. I'm taking Herbert. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm taking him, right? Jalen Hurts versus Jordan Love. Hurts, yeah, makes sense. He's won, right? So Hurts is probably the guy there. The only argument I have is really Jaden Daniels. Like, I'm not on the Jaden Daniels fan train necessarily because he's been a year. I haven't seen it this year. His team's gone into the toilet. And again, he's been hurt. He's been banged up. He's had his issues, whatever. But I don't think I put Daniels on that top 5. If you do this at the end of last year, prior to this year, then maybe. But we've seen too many guys have those sophomore slumps and fall back and so forth. Just like if you do this Drake May topic last year, Drake May's not on this list. Nobody's even talking about Drake May. He's played well for a half a season, so everybody's in love with Drake May. So, I mean, Jordan Love's got has more of a body of work at this point than certainly Drake May does.
Well, and I think Drake May at least has this argument along with Jordan Love. The talent that he's playing with isn't always top tier.
Right.
And I think that sometimes gives Jordan Love a little bit of an edge over some of these guys. And I don't think I would put him over Jalen Hurts, but I can see why people would argue him over Jalen Hurts just because of the teams that have been around Jalen Hurts during his time there in Philadelphia. And that's not saying Jalen Hurts isn't a great quarterback. I'm just saying that Jordan Love has done a lot, or almost as much with less there on the field with him.
Okay, so that was your botched moment of the day by Dan Orlovsky, who used to love Jordan Love. I don't know what the heck is going on, but it is what it is at this point. And I think there are Packer fans listening. They go, no, I think I agree with Dan Orlovsky. I think Jordan Love doesn't belong in that list from 2020 going forward. And I'm not saying he necessarily deserves to be in a top 5 list of any sort at this point, but I think you can definitely make arguments of why maybe he belongs there over others at this point. All right, I want to get to a couple of things here. One of these I wanted to get to was something that happened yesterday on the ticket in Detroit. Now, this is Jim Costa and John Jansen, the former lineman, NFL lineman and Michigan offensive lineman. They do a morning show on the ticket in Detroit. Congratulations to those guys, because those guys have gone statewide in the state of Michigan as well here in the last week. So they had a question on how do they view the threat in the NFC North as far as the Packers or the Bears? Which one is more of a threat to the Lions? This is what they said.
As you look at the NFC North standings today, you'll see the Lions are in first place, and you'll see the team right below them, not the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears. Who's the bigger threat?
When looking at Chicago and their resurgence, starting off 0-2, they've won 6 of their last 7. You look at their wins, and okay, the Bengals, that was an absolute wild game. Colson Loveland with the touchdown at the very end to win it. Should they have won that game? Probably not, but they did. Same thing with the Giants. And then you can look at the Commanders game, the Raiders game. Like there are just some games in there where you're like, wow, they're really living a charmed life over the last 7 weeks. But you look at the rest of their schedule and you think, okay, well, they're playing a last place schedule. You know they're going to play the division games, right? They've still got the Vikings, which are actually going to play this week, which I think will tell us a lot about them. They've got the Packers twice. Obviously, we play them at the very end of the season. Niners, Browns, Eagles, Steelers. It's a little bit tougher than the last place schedule that you would expect a team to play. I don't think what they're doing is sustainable for the rest of the season. They're better than I thought that they would be at this time of the year. And again, some of those are some dumb luck games. But as I mentioned with the Eagles, ugly wins are still wins.
Yeah, listen, I agree with Jansen there. Ugly wins are still wins. I get down with all of that. I guess where my struggle is on this Chicago Bears thing is it's still Caleb Williams at quarterback. It's still a questionable Bears defense to me going into this thing. I mean, DJ Moore has been non-existent to this point in this Bears offense. Loveland, the rookie tight end, is only doing something now because Cole Kmet got hurt. So you're finally starting to see something out of Colston Loveland. The rookie backup running back might be better than the starter in Swift in the brief time we've seen those two running backs play, or the backup play in place of Swift. So you have that as well. I mean, you watch that Bears game, man. Caleb Williams says, you think Jordan Love runs for his life. That dude's running for his life constantly and just winging the ball all over the place. Most times not to anybody specifically, but he's still running for his life. He should have been sacked way more than he's been sacked to this point had he not been as mobile as he was, Charlie. I mean, you watch these games, we're running out of time, but I just find it hard to believe that the Chicago Bears are for real at this point. When you take all of that into consideration. Ben Johnson, great coach. Is their offense better? Absolutely, the offense is better. Do I believe in them yet? No, I don't believe in them. Do you believe in Matt LaFleur? What does Matt LaFleur have to do to keep his job? We'll talk about that next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. Sparky here, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Other side of the glass, Charlie Usen, producing today's show. Coming up 5 to 6 o'clock, like always, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up, best of that day. And looking forward to hearing what that's all about today from 5 to 6. You know something? I realize I may be different than other people. I am convinced of it because right now we have nothing on today's rundown. As I mentioned earlier, from 2 to 5, there's nothing Brewers related on here. Yesterday we had a guest, right? Ben Badler from Baseball America at this time slot yesterday talking about the minor leagues. When I'm at home at night, like most people are probably like, oh, Packers. Dude, I'm like looking for anything I can find from these GM meetings on the Brewers, like anything. I'm just scouring everything to see if I can find anything on the Brewers. Like I am a one-track mind right now on the Brewers offseason, Charlie.
Well, and it seems like a lot of people are pretty positive about the Brewers this offseason. I've seen a lot of names floating around with Milwaukee. Bo Bichette's the big one, but I've seen like Ryan O'Hearn. I've seen them bring back Brandon Woodruff. Like a lot of big moves.
Harris tour yesterday. If you missed it, last segment of Wisconsin Sports Daily yesterday, go back and listen. You can go back and listen. Brand new website, wisportsradio.com. You can stream us there. You can go back, listen to any of your favorite shows, your podcasts, whatever the case may be. And it's great if you've not checked it out yet, which most of you probably have not yet because I just told you about it. But we have a best Packers coverage, best Brewers coverage, best Bucks coverage. So let's say you heard Ben Badler yesterday from Baseball America on. If you go to the best Brewers coverage page there, all the interviews that involve any of the shows talking about those teams, those interviews are stacked right there for you. Same with Packer coverage, right? Annie Herman is on, Tom Silverstein, Ryan Wood, Matt Schneidman, Wayne Larrabee. Those are all separated right there. So you can go and find those podcasts right there, or you can go and listen to the shows themselves on the show pages. So very cool. Charlie and all the producers do a great job putting the different interviews and stuff up from each day. So you can go and find the best segments from that day on the front page of the website. So check it out, wisportsradio.com. Back to the Packers. So, as we all know, a lot of people are mad at Matt LaFleur. A lot of people are mad at the Packers and so forth. A lot of negativity going on with the Green Bay Packers. I'm just going to ask you a simple question. There's no wrong answer. Okay. There's no wrong answer. You are not wrong. It's your opinion. It's not going to be wrong. We may differ on where my line in the sand is and where your line in the sand is. Yes. But there's no right or wrong answer. The only person that has the answer to our question is Ed Policy and Brian Gutekunst. They have the answer. Maybe they've had the conversation already. Maybe they haven't. And if they haven't had the conversation, I guarantee you Ed Policy knows where his line in the sand is for this next question. What does Matt LaFleur have to do, in your mind, to keep his job for next year? That he's the head coach next season, week 1, Matt LaFleur in the last year of his contract. I'm not saying what does Matt LaFleur have to do to the contract extension. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what does he have to do to be still coaching this team in week 1 next season in the last year of his contract? Because as you know, Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur have 1 year left on their deal after this year. So what does he have to do to keep his job in your mind? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. On the socials, WI Sports Radio, streaming live on X and on YouTube. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a complete stranger. Make sure to check out the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I think it's pretty simple from where I stand. I think if he misses the playoffs, I think he's toast. I think if he loses a wild card game, I think there's an outside chance that he might be toast. I think if he wins a playoff game, he is more than fine at the end of the day. That's how I think it plays. Now, for me, personally, unless this locker room splinters and you have finger pointing and so forth going on before the end of the year, and unless this team like loses 5 of their last 7 or something crazy, for me personally, Matt LaFleur is the coach next year. That's where I'm at. Okay. I know most of you aren't going to agree with me. That's okay. I'm fine with it. We don't have to agree, right? I'm just want to take a temperature test here and see where everybody else is at on this. I think for the Packers, it's make the playoffs and win a game. That guarantees he comes back, in my mind. Anything short of that, I think then everything's on the table as far as what Ed Policy might do.
I think if it's make the playoffs, lose a game, miss the playoffs out of some crazy mishap here, I think it kind of gets the Dwayne Casey treatment in that situation, where in Toronto, he brought that team to the Eastern Conference playoffs time and time again, was able to lead that team to being one of the best teams in the East, and then just could not get it done in the playoffs. And they needed to bring in a new coach, and then they also brought in a new player to fit the system around. That could be something you're seeing potentially here with the way Ed Policy has talked about the contract extensions in the past with Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur, is that they have to go out here and prove it. And right now, I think Brian Gutekunst at first showed he could prove it, but he's kind of fallen behind here too with the way the trade deadline went and the way that all his free agent signings have worked out. And Matt LaFleur definitely has not reached what I think Ed Policy has set that goal at.
Many of you asked this question 2 weeks ago. Nobody's questioning Matt LaFleur or the offense nearly as much because they were putting up a ton of points every week outside of Cleveland. He has 2 bad weeks, and now the world's ending, and everybody wants people fired and moved on from and everything else. So that's where I'm curious where everybody is at. What does Matt LaFleur have to do in your mind to keep his job? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Q, north side of Milwaukee. You're up here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. What's up, buddy?
Matt LaFleur has to win. And specifically, he has to restore a sense of urgency in this team. If I was in his shoes, I would be coaching like every game was must win and a playoff game. I think I'm pretty outspoken on not really believing in him as a leader. And this is pretty much my worst nightmare scenario that I was kind of talking about all offseason, where the Gutekunst underinvested in the skilled positions of this offense. He only invested in the offensive line, and I guess he drafted some rookies, but now we know that we have a lackluster coach in Matt LaFleur. Like, he kind of struggled at times with Aaron Rodgers, with a Hall of Fame quarterback. And now, like, we don't know if we just have a bad offensive coordinator and leader in Matt LaFleur or a bad quarterback in Jordan Love. I believe in Jordan Love. I think the contract extension was smart, but like Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, like, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, it feels to me like the scenario that you played out, where if he loses in the playoffs or misses the playoffs, they have to fire Matt LaFleur, because otherwise they won't know what they have in Jordan Love. And we're on the hook for him through 2028. So this is terrible team management, in my opinion, where like we don't know what the problem is, and we're going to be trying to figure that out for the rest of the year, unless Matt can change course.
So if this offense gets going again, but they miss the playoffs, is he in trouble?
Yeah, he's gone.
So even if the offense gets fixed, but they don't win, then that's it. If this offense gets going, they make the playoffs, they lose in the wild card round.
He's been here for 7 years. He hasn't done anything.
I'm just asking you. Like, so if he loses the wild card game, he's gone then, right?
How many years did McCarthy get as a head coach in Green Bay, and he won a Super Bowl?
You would have to Charlie looked that up. I don't remember how many.
I think it's like 8 years.
So if he loses the wild card round, then he's gone in your mind, right?
Yes.
I'm just asking. Just answer the questions. Okay. So if they
12 years,
12 years he got, which means LaFleur would get 5 more. And even if you
He
take
won a Super Bowl?
no, he has not won a Super Bowl. Absolutely not. No, but if we're going to compare them. Now, let's move on. Let's say the Green Bay Packers they win the divisional round game. They get to the conference championship and lose.
Honestly, it would depend how they lose, because if it's another special teams blunder, I don't think firing Rich Bisaccia is going to be enough. And Ed Policy is the new sheriff in town, and I think he's the type of leader that this organization needs.
So I don't think you've answered the question. How does he keep his job? Is it simply he has to win a Super Bowl for you, Q?
I think that, like, if we win one game, one playoff game, it would really take a lot of pressure off him. But if we lose in classic Matt LaFleur fashion in the second round of the playoffs, I don't like it. He's kind of has a script every year that he follows. So I don't think that there's a line in the sand. It'll depend how we lose. If we get outclassed, that's not really on him. That's kind of on the roster. But if we lose another close game in the playoffs, like Matt LaFleur, my biggest issue with him is he doesn't have what it takes when the pressure is on to outperform another coach, to get the most juice that he can out of this roster. I haven't seen him do that except for in the Cowboys game 2 years ago in the playoffs.
All right. I appreciate it, Q. Thank you very much. I got a text message coming here. Necaway Law Talk text line. Jake in Dousman. I really think it would take a sub-Ray Rhodes type season to see Matt LaFleur out the door as head coach. Charlie Houston. You don't remember Ray Rhodes, right?
I do not know.
Ray Rhodes was a defensive coordinator for the Packers and been in the league a while under Mike Holmgren and so forth. And they gave Ray Rhodes a shot to be the head coach. Ray Rhodes went 8-8. I was actually at Ray Rhodes' last football game that he was the head coach at Lambeau. 8-8. And they fired him. So, to what Jake Dousman has to say, that means if this team goes 8-9, 9-8, something like that, then it may be donezo for our guy, Matt LaFleur. Now, there was some talk of why Ron Wolf moved on. If I remember correctly, and if somebody tells me I'm wrong and wants to correct me, feel free. But my memory says that he felt like the players were kind of running things more than Ray Rhodes, and that was part of the reason that they moved on to, if memory serves correct. Let's go to John and Franklin. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What does Matt LaFleur have to do to keep his job, John?
Hey, Spark, thanks for the conversation. What he's got to do, and, let's keep in mind, I'm not like, let's fire him right now, blah, blah, blah. That's not where I'm at. But we've been talking about very debatable coaching decisions.
Yep.
Week after week after week after week. The lack of offense is kind of a short-term thing, and you can point to some reasons for that. But for me, the deal breaker is where it always starts. It's the division. Now, I'm okay if we go out to Detroit and the turkey settling down and all that, and we put a good performance on and go down. But we better put a good performance. We better put a good performance on. I don't want another one of these where we're making excuses for Mr. Nice Guy. I'm tired of it. I'm fed up with it. And you damn well better win 3 out of 4 against the Vikings and the Bears. Because if you don't, if you get out coached by your new contemporaries and in Chicago and,
in Minnesota,
you get out. Yeah. I mean, he's not new anymore. And I don't like the Vikings, but let's face it. He's a great coach. He's a good coach.
Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. Yeah.
Yeah. They should not have let their quarterback go. They did us a favor, let me tell you. But anyway, this is it. He's got to do very well against the division. What's going to happen in the playoffs? That kind of remains to be seen. But once again, it just week after week, the bad decisions or the debatable decisions, and it just gets old. And I know he's got a good record and all that stuff, but sometimes your message just falls flat. And sometimes I just think this Mr. Nice Guy stuff sometimes you got to get mad and sometimes you got to kick a little butt. And
See, this is the
you know,
thing. But hold on a second. John, thanks for the call. This is the thing. I don't like going down the road where we act like we know what is going on in the locker room. Like we act like we know what is going on in a closed practice, because that's what happens in the season, right? A lot of closed practices. So I don't know whether or not Matt LaFleur gets angry and throws stuff and goes crazy and yells and screams at his team. I don't know. I'm not saying he does. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I don't know. And because I don't know, I don't want to be highly critical of him of that. Like if we go back in time, old school Bucks, go to George Karl when he was here, right? What did George Karl do? If you're on YouTube or actually be able to see me, George Karl just kind of sit back. The other team's got like a 12-2 run going, arms folded, just watching, chilling, sucking on some candy, hanging out.
How inspiring.
Not calling a timeout. Just wanting to see if his team would get itself out of it. People would get so mad. Why isn't he yelling and screaming? Call a damn timeout. What are you doing? But George had his own method to his madness. Did it his whole career. That's how he believed in coaching. One guy's yell and scream every 5 minutes about something. Would he? Yes. But not maybe when everybody else wanted him to. So everybody's got their own way of doing things. And I'm sure Matt LaFleur over the course of time is taking a little some of this from this guy he coached with, a little some of that from this guy he coached with. And then he's got some of what he believes in separate from these other guys he coached with. And you become who you are today. And I promise you that when Matt LaFleur eventually leaves this job, whether it be on his own merit or whether it be on the Packers' merit, when he gets the next head coaching job, and he will get another head coaching job, he will be different than he is right now. You can see Ned Yost of the Brewers back in the day. Ned and I didn't like each other, but back in the
Shocker.
day. Oh, yeah. No. But Ned was not the same guy in Kansas City managing the Royals to 2 World Series and a World Series victory as he was in Milwaukee, and said, I learned a lot about how that went down in Milwaukee, and I vowed to change how I go about things. Did change, and they got to 2 World Series. Still wasn't given a bunch of credit by anybody, but he did change what he was doing. And Matt LaFleur, with this being his first coaching gig, I'm sure will change how he goes about things his second time. That would be a great question for Mike McCarthy. As far as, all right, man, first head coaching job is here in Green Bay. Second head coaching job was in Dallas. What did you do different in Dallas than you did in Green Bay? What worked? What didn't work? And now looking at job 3, which he's going to get. And job 3, what now do you want to change going into job 3 that you didn't do in job 1 and job 2? Because you would think that you will evolve as a coach and as a person as you go through different life experiences.
Well, and I think it's also important to ask not only what did he do different, but also to kind of look at the 2 situations and say, you know what, in Dallas, what were you allowed to do by Jerry Jones and that ownership that maybe you weren't allowed to do in Green Bay too? What is the differences between the restrictions you have from place to place? And when he goes to place 3, what's different about the way the ownership manages you, the front office manages you there versus the other 2 places too?
Absolutely. Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250. 414 says most teams would kill to have a young offensive-minded coach like LaFleur. Everyone is overreacting off of 4 games of his 7-year historic career with the Packers. I tend to agree with the overreaction part of that for sure. Let's go back to the phones. John in Hartford, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, John?
Hey, Sparky. So before I give you the answer you're looking for, Matt LaFleur coached up Jordan Love and those young guys, Love's first year, to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Last year, he coached up Malik Willis to the point where Malik Willis came into the Jacksonville game when Love got hurt and led them to a comeback. Without that win, they don't make the playoffs last year.
And they won 2 games earlier in the year after Love got hurt against Philly.
Correct. So I think Matt LaFleur knows what he's doing. He didn't just get stupid
Correct.
in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
But Matt LaFleur is safe as long as Goody is the GM until the next contract, because policy will not fire LaFleur and keep Gutekunst after this year, because there's no way he's going to let Goody hire the next coach with only 1 year left on his deal.
No, he'd have to extend Goody, fire LaFleur,
Or fire
extend
him.
Gutekunst, and then my guess would be Ed Policy says, I'm extending you, but I'm sitting in on the head coaching interviews before we make the next decision.
Basically what the Bears did with Ryan Poles when they fired Matt Eberflus.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just fire them both after this year.
Or they just fire them both. I find that hard to believe because you just let them make the Micah Parsons deal. That would make no sense. Thanks for the call. And this goes right back to Nico Harrison in Dallas with the Mavericks, who the owner signs off on trading Luka for that package. You come back the next year. Davis is hurt. Kyrie is hurt. Cooper Flagg's got all this pressure on him on top of it. The fans fire Nico because half the team is hurt. And the owner goes, you know what? I think you're right. You're an idiot. You're out of here. But you're the one that signed off on me doing that deal. Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to make the fans happy now. We're over this. You got to go. Who knows? And Jason Kidd, tell you right now, he's coaching his last days too, because he's not going to survive till next year either, depending on who the next GM is going to be, especially if they're banged up and hurt all year. So when we talk about Micah Parsons and Gutekunst, Ed Policy signed off on that deal. There's no way Goody makes that deal without Ed Policy signing off. I can't imagine they move on from Gutekunst after this year, regardless of how this thing goes.
Well, and the other problem with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving is that they have been injured since they got to Dallas. Micah hasn't been that. Micah's been out there and doing
their whole career. They knew that before they got both of them.
Micah Parsons has been on the field doing what he does. Like, he's been that good for this Packers defense. The Packers defense looks like one of the best units in the league. You can't worry about that side of the ball. It's the offense that's the struggle right now.
Okay, let's talk more about that. 920 uses the Nicolay Talking text line. Matt LaFleur needs to fix the O-line. Moving guys around on the line has worked in the past, but it's not with this group. Let's talk a little bit about that real quickly here. So Matt LaFleur was asked about this whole offensive line thing and what all is going on. And Matt LaFleur was asked about Adam Stenavich because it was brought up. With Andy Herman and myself, we had the conversation about, hey, man, Adam Stenavich was the old offensive line coach before they made him offensive coordinator. They promoted Luke Buckets from assistant offensive line coach to offensive line coach. We have not had these issues previously. Like, is Stenavich even helping Buckets at this point? Like, what's changed at this point? How much is Stenavich involved?
Have you thought about having Stenavich work more hands-on with the offensive line?
I mean, that's what he does that every day. He's in there all the time. So, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's absolutely with those guys quite a bit. So, yeah, I mean, we'll probably continue with that.
Get your resume ready, buddy. Get your resume ready. That's all I got to say to that. Because you're the offensive coordinator. You don't call plays. He just said your hands on the offensive line. That stinks. You're in trouble. Like, if we get to the end of the year and they're like, LaFleur stays, but there's going to be some scapegoats, Adam Stenavich and Luke Buckets, see ya. And they'll go get, here, let me say this. Those two will be gone. Getsy will end up as offensive coordinator. They'll go hire a 65-year-old offensive line coach that chews tobacco and spits all over the ground, and he'll be the new offensive line coach, and they'll move forward.
First, have fun with Luke Getsy as offensive coordinator.
I have no interest in that. I told you I want
he
him
was
out.
so much fun in Chicago. I enjoyed watching him run 18 screen passes in a row. That didn't work. It was so
But
bad.
again, that was another situation to what? To the guy not trusting his quarterback to make the right decisions, trying to make it as easy as possible so they wouldn't screw it up. Getsy, I don't know if he calls it the same way for Jordan Love. I don't know.
It just feels like that in situations like that in Chicago and like this now. It feels like the coordinators aren't trusting the quarterbacks to do what they do best, and that they're trying to force them into these offenses that just don't match what the quarterbacks are doing all the time. And I think you need to start changing that moving forward. And part of that is Matt LaFleur giving up a little bit of what he does on offense. I think right now he's just taking too much of a bite on offense. And then Adam Stenavich is sitting around, well, I have nothing to do. I guess I'll go help out the offensive line. I guess I'll just try to give you
the biggest problem on the offense. You better be helping out the offensive line. That used to be your gig.
But he's also supposed to be the offensive coordinator, not
He's
the
not
offensive line coach.
He's not calling plays.
He needs to be doing something more than what he's doing right now. I think Matt LaFleur needs to have his hands in other areas of the team and not all in on offense.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just telling you that I am struggling to believe that both him and Buckets have jobs next year if they don't figure out the offensive line. Hey, it's that time of year, the sing-songy, family gathering, baked goodsy season. And Wendy's went and made the frosty of your holiday dreams. It's a Snickerdoodle Cookie Frosty Fusion. Say it with me, Snickerdoodle Cookie Frosty Fusion. Made with swirls of sweet, gooey Snickerdoodle sauce and chunks of cinnamony Snickerdoodle cookies. It's full-on cookie nostalgia. So preheat those mouth ovens because the Snickerdoodle Cookie Frosty Fusion is here. And seriously delicious. The iconic Frosty mixed with sweet Snickerdoodle cookies. It's gotta be Wendy's, and it is Charlie Usen's favorite one that they've ever done.
Delicious. Amazing.
Amazing. Again, have to like cinnamon, though. Lots of cinnamon.
If
you love cinnamon, this is a home run.
I think if you even only a little bit like cinnamon, you'll love it.
Yes, but if you
It's
don't
that good.
like cinnamon, it's not going to work. If you love cinnamon, it's all in. I ate it. I thought it was good. Charlie was like up and over the moon on it.
Need 10 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
10 of them.
Easy. Again, we could do a challenge. We did the hot dog challenge.
No,
I just want somebody to buy me a bunch of Frosties more so is what this is.
At least we know what the angle is. Charlie Sounds of the Day brought to you by PrizePicks comes up here in about 10, 15 minutes. Coming up next, Charlie had brought up something in our show meeting yesterday, and we had it on the rundown. We never got to it. And we talked about Jordan Love, and he's making $55 million, whatever the case may be, and all the money. The money they spent on Nate Hobbs, the money they spent on Aaron Banks, the money they're spending on Rashawn Gary, the money they're spending on Micah Parsons. And we're always talking money and contracts. Up next is justifying contracts, a hurdle that the Packers need to get themselves over. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky here. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. To the Wisconsin Sports wrap-up at 5 o'clock. Tommy Wirtz will take you through the best of today on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Plus, he'll give his spin. He takes calls during that show as well. So if you want to interact with him from 5 to 6, you can obviously do that too. And then tomorrow, a Football Friday kicks off tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 with Inside Wisconsin Sports with Tommy Wirtz filling in for Josh Albrecht and Trevor Thomas. That'll be a fun show from 6 to 9. 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Maklov. Noon to 2, the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis, brought to you by Verizon. And, of course, this show, Football Friday tomorrow. Looking forward to Ben Solak of ESPN joining us. He's really, really good if you follow him on social media or have seen him on ESPN. He'll join us at 2:20. We have Ryan Wood at the Green Bay Press-Gazette. He'll join us tomorrow, I believe, at 2:40 is normal time. Then we have 4 o'clock hour jam-packed Fantasy Football Friday at 4:20. Like always, taking your questions on fantasy football. And then 4:40, we got Follow the Money with Austin Herdini from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So jam-packed show tomorrow on a Football Friday. Okay, so this is a Charlie topic that he pitched yesterday, and we just never got to it. The question is this: is justifying contracts a hurdle that the Packers need to get over? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Charlie, explain.
So if we head over to Twitter, Sleeper Packers put out there this stat about Carrington Valentine. Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was targeted 4 times when Valentine was covering him. Brown caught only one of those passes for just 7 yards. Friend of the show, Eli Berkovitz, retweeted that and said the Packers waited weeks to play Valentine to try and justify Hobbs' contract. They continue to play an injured McManus to justify his contract. They continue to play an injured/terrible Banks to justify his contract. Don't care what you're paying, guys. Play the better player. I think this is a sentiment a lot of guys have felt throughout this season with some of these players, specifically the guys that they've signed in free agency. And then we were talking about Brandon McManus before. I think this is a situation where you look at some of these other teams across the league that have had success recently, in the Philadelphia Eagles, in the Baltimore Ravens, and how quickly they're willing to move on from some of these guys that are disappointing right away in favor of younger players that may give them the better opportunity to win in those moments.
So I think this could be a topic for the organization or a topic for the fan base, because as we've discussed, fans more than anybody are going to hold the feet to the fire of an athlete that's making significant amount of money, more than, say, somebody on a rookie or a veteran minimum deal, right? So Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons, Xavier McKinney, Zach Tom now making a whole bunch of money, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, those cats that are making a lot of money. When Kenny Clark was here, those cats that are making a lot of money, fans are going to eye them up. The other people fans are going to eye up of is any type of expensive free agent that you brought in that now gets put into that position, like Banks, like Hobbs. Valentine has been the best cornerback on this football team. I don't think that's even really debatable at this point. And coming in, if we would have said Carrington Valentine was going to be the best cornerback on this team, you probably would have said they're going to be in trouble if he's your best cornerback, right?
Yeah, he wasn't even on the team.
You're smiling.
It's crazy.
You're smiling like, ha, ha, ha. But I'm serious. Like, coming into this, it was supposed to be Hobbs and Keyshawn Nixon, and then Bullard was going to be the slot, and Valentine was your 4th cornerback, is how this whole thing was going to work. And then Bo Melton gets switched over to corner because they don't have depth. So he was going to be your 5th or 6th cornerback. And now you sit here and you look at this, and all of a sudden Valentine's your 1st. Now, how much of this had to do with him sitting because Hobbs was back? If you remember, Valentine had a bad week, and then Hobbs came back, and Hobbs went in there. Then Hobbs struggled for a couple of weeks, and then they went back to Valentine to see if he could get his footing again. He did, and has played well since then. So I'm sure some of it is that. Absolutely. If you look at Aaron Banks and the money he's making, yeah, he's definitely playing because of what he's making. Man gave up 6 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus this last week. 6 in one game. So, yes, Banks is going to get the benefit of the doubt longer than somebody that is a 2nd or 3rd year player making like $1 million or less a year. Banks is going to get more time to prove that pick was right. The other reason why Banks and Hobbs both get time is because they're in the 1st year of new systems for both of them. And secondly, because they're both playing through injuries this year. Both those cats have been hurt multiple times this year, and I still don't know how healthy Aaron Banks is.
I don't either. And Aaron Banks, again, even when he's played, hasn't been the most phenomenal player on the field. And I think that prior to last season with San Francisco, we've heard plenty of people talk about this. He wasn't exactly that exciting before that either. So it's been one real season that you've seen him be this type of player. And you could say the same thing about Nate Hobbs too. He's had his up and downs in other teams that he's been on. So when they come here and aren't performing, when this is a Packers team that when they made that trade for Micah Parsons, you sat there and said, yep, they're a Super Bowl contender. And right now they just don't look like they've separated themselves from the group pack into that place of Super Bowl contender at this point. And it is really has to do with those two guys not being on the field. I know we talk about in basketball how you don't lose your job to injury. At the same time here, Matt LaFleur has to make a decision for himself and for this team in order to get them going. If that means an Anthony Belton, a younger player, goes out there and gets a chance to play, then you have to give it a shot. Just because Aaron Banks is a veteran doesn't mean that he deserves all this extra credit when he's just not out there doing his job.
This is the thing, though, and if we're being real about things, we got to get to a timeout. But look at it this way, and there are lots of examples in the sports talk world, whether it be TV or radio or news talk, for that matter, right? Just look at Ryan Clark. Guys where they say something stupid, but they're making a lot of money. So the network that owns them thinks there's some value there, so they let him get a free pass, and they let him get a free pass and let him get a free pass, and that happens all the time. Now, if that same thing might have been said by somebody different than the person that's made, for instance, if Stephen A. Smith on ESPN or Colin Cowherd, if they say something outrageous and crazy that they have to apologize for, versus the person that's leading the show, whoever that may be on First Take, because that continues to be a revolving door. If that person says something crazy and it's not Stephen A., that person's done. Stephen A. might get suspended or whatever, but he's not losing his job all the way. Somebody else, less known, not paying a lot of money to, that the severance package is not going to be as crazy. See you, you're gone, but we're going to give you more of a chance. I don't think it's any different in sports. I don't think it's any different in normal day-to-day jobs as well.
I don't think so either, but I also think that when you're comparing those two positions, a Stephen A. or Colin Cowherd, when they say something outrageous or go out there and say something crazy like that, that's still what their job is. Their job is to kind of say crazy stuff sometimes, and sometimes it gets out of hand. I think when you look at the hosts of their show, Molly Kieram, if she goes out of bounds and starts saying crazy things, that is not in her job description.
She's not even there anymore.
Right. Yeah. And that was just the last person. I don't even know who the new person is.
I don't know the new person either.
Exactly. If she goes out of bounds and starts going beyond her job description, that's not her job. And that becomes the issue. Right now, Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs aren't doing their jobs, and that's where the issue lies.
I don't think you see a change with either one of those guys as far as anything dramatic.
I just also don't think you have anybody else to put there either. That's the other problem.
I think they're both back next year. To me, the interesting part of this is Jordan Morgan, of whether or not they're going to allow Jordan Morgan can continue to play that position going forward, or will they give Belton a shot to come in and try his hand at that position, or Kennard, for that matter, to come in, because Kennard's that extra guy. I thought it was going to be Belton as the extra offensive lineman, and they've gone with Kennard instead. And they're not paying Kennard anything. So Kennard's not playing because of money, because they're paying a minimal money.
That's what I also learned is Kennard has run that kind of role and package in Philadelphia before, so that's part of the reason they put him in.
Absolutely. Charlie using over there. Steve Sparky Fifer here. Charlie, sounds of the day coming up. Don't forget, Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, fine dining restaurants everywhere. A beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, 48 beers, dozen different specialty cocktails, all-day brunch, all kinds of great food, including the John Kuhn platter that you can order and eat up when you like delicious food over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But guess what else? You can win some money. Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's Autumn Action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn Action runs now through the 20th, and you can earn entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Network, or Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky here. Charlie Usen over there. Sports Talk on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, presented by Paramount Plus, streaming November 16th on Paramount Plus. It's the return of Landman. From Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone, Academy Award winner Billy Bob Thornton is back, featuring Academy Award-winning nominees Demi Moore, Andy Garcia, and Sam Elliott. Landman, new season starting November 16th, only on Paramount Plus. Time now for Charlie's segment.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time. Charlie Sounds of the Day brought to you by Prize Picks. We'll get more into that once Charlie is done here. What do we got, Charlie?
First up, we're going to head over to Get Up on ESPN, where one guy we've heard from today already, Dan Orlovsky, was continuing to talk about Jordan Love and what the narrative needs to be around the young quarterback.
This is what happens when people say, quarterback, protect the football. I'm not paying you $55 million to protect the ball. You pay players like me to protect the football. And that's not being joking, like legit. I'm paying Jordan Love to be great.
Thank you.
And it's way too cautious. In the narrative around Jordan Love, this is what has bothered me so much about the season and coming off of last week. Jordan Love's a walking turnover. That's factually incorrect. Jordan Love's reckless with the football. That's factually incorrect. If you look at over the course of the last season of starts, because last year he missed some time, this year we're not all the way through. Look at where he is when it comes to giving the ball away. Jalen right now is historically good with it, throwing the football to the other team. Stafford's in the conversation for MVP of the league, and then Lamar's Lamar. Jordan Love's third when it comes to throwing interceptions as far as how much we throw the football. So, like, everyone talks about Jordan Love as this walking, oh my gosh, he's not. I would argue he's too cautious with the football. I would argue because of the offensive line and because of this, we got a great defense, don't throw the ball to the other team, he's not cutting it loose. If I was Matt LaFleur, I would sit there and say, Jordan, start throwing the ball downfield. If you throw an interception, it's on me. If you throw an interception, we traded 7,000 picks for Micah Parsons. We paid him $1 billion. And I would agree, Monday night, there's people open. But for some reason, he won't throw the football because everybody talks about Jordan Love being the reason why the Packers aren't going to win games because if he gives the ball away, it's the worst thing. No, it's not.
There's the Dan Orlovsky. No one remember. Love you, Dan. Miss you. Okay, what's next?
All right, next up, we're going to head on over and hear from somebody you also love and usually miss hearing from. Colin Cowherd, he was discussing his beef with Micah Parsons that is continuing to take place on Twitter.
The Eagles can't run the football this year. That wasn't great defense. That is the inability due to injuries and other reasons. Philly can't run the ball this year. That's why they're not as dominant. That was not a great Packer performance. It was a consistent Eagles run game performance. So the Cowboys defense last year with Micah, 31st. The Cowboys defense this year without Micah, 31st. And again, but the argument here isn't about who's right, me or Micah. This is instructive. There are certain players in the NFL, very, very infrequent professional athletes that do a bunch of stuff well. Wemby, ball handle, hit a three, block a shot, post move. Jokic can do everything. Best passer on the Nuggets. Best post guy on the Nuggets. Best rebounder mostly on the Nuggets. Best shooter at times on the Nuggets. That is rare. Ohtani can do everything. Most baseball players, the great ones, are Freddie Freeman. Man, can he hit. Ohtani can do everything. Jokic and Wemby are versatile. Luka's a great scorer. Carmelo Anthony was a great scorer. Man? He wasn't a great playmaker, a great defender, a great rebounder. Melo and Luka are great scorers. And that, for great players, even great players, that's it. Christian McCaffrey's a versatile player. Bijan Robinson's a versatile player. Adrian Peterson was just a great running back. Over.
Yes.
Micah is essentially Tyreek Hill.
You're an idiot.
For the record, both traded in their prime.
That's where it is, yes.
You're a complete idiot. every player he mentioned was an offensive player. Micah Parsons plays defense. You cannot continuously tell me on all these great offensive traits, even when he went to football, he picked offensive players. Shut up. Then Ben Solak on this show tomorrow from ESPN. Micah Parsons went back, remember, at Colin Cowherd. Ben Solak tweeted, went to look because I was curious. Offenses facing the Packers have a run rate over expectation of 5.8% on 3rd and 7 or longer, which is the 4th highest in football. Good point, Micah, from Ben Solak. Like I said, nuts. Absolutely bonkers crazy, nuts. Colin Cowherd. We're pretty much out of time, unless you have something
I
short.
can't fit the last one in.
No, that's all right. We'll talk more about prize picks coming up on the other side. Green and gold update coming up. Plus, we're going to talk about something Andy Herman and I talked about on the Mason Crosby show when I filled in on that show earlier this week. As far as, actually, it was yesterday. What would make you actually happy as a Packer fan on Sunday against the Giants? What would it be where you would call into the Green Bay football postgame show to me and Tommy Woods and be like, woohoo, I'm jacked. That's what I wanted to see. What is that? So we're going to talk about that in the next hour, too. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. We got to get to our green and gold update as we broadcast live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Couple of text messages coming in I wanted to get to on the Nicolay Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250. The 920, Ryan and Tosa, at Wendy's in Waukesha, getting my free Admiral's Frosty from yesterday's win. And remember, we had Harris Turon, and we promoted that because they had 4 goals. You get 4 goals or more, the Admirals get that. You get a free Frosty at Wendy's.
Awesome.
Ryan's taking advantage of it. It's Frosty Classic now, right? It's a Frosty Classic. It's not the fusion of the swirl, just Frosty Classic, chocolate or vanilla. Good enough
Give
for me.
10 of those too. Yeah, I'll take any of those any day.
I'm in. I'm absolutely in. Another one coming in on that Colin Cowherd take from the 608. Jacob in Tosa. The Cowherd compares him to Tyreek Hill as a one-dimensional guy who was traded in his prime. If one-dimensional means being first-team All-Pro multiple years after being traded, that's cool with me. What the hell was he talking about from the 608 and Jacob in Tosa?
First ballot Hall of Famer. That's what Tyreek Hill is. That's what Micah Parsons will eventually be. Come on, dude. What are you talking about?
These guys, man, whatever. They're making millions of dollars, literally millions of. You realize Stephen A. Smith is making more than a bunch of the players on the Packers football team right now. He's making more than the Packers receivers. He's making more than
ESPN's making him lose some of his money that he's making. But
what do you mean?
With the whole solitaire thing going on, he's got to drop some of the contracts he's made.
And again, that's on ESPN for not investigating that whole thing. We talked about that the other day. Mina Kimes did some investigation. Actually, the people that follow Mina Kimes told her about the company that she was promoting, and then she was livid
immediately
that she was involved in all of that and said, hell no, I'm out. I apologize. And now all these other people that were involved with the Stephen A. Smith solitaire thing now are bailing as well. And again, that's on the company for not doing their research before they just randomly gave a company to them to go out and endorse and be a part of.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Fifer.
All right, time for our green and gold update. We'll hear from Matt LaFleur, but I also have the updated injury list that gets sent to us. Sarah Quick, she's a little bit earlier today.
She's on top of it.
Normally, I get this from the media relations department at 4:00. Like this open fires and boop, right there in my email. Sarah's on it. Today came in at 3:00.
Maybe Matt LaFleur heard Aaron Glenn yesterday and was like, I don't want to be like him. I got to get the report out as fast as possible so nobody can yell at me,
You think it's him getting it to her earlier?
Maybe. Somebody has to get it to her. She doesn't just know.
I know that. I don't know. I appreciate it, Sarah. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about what we got going on here as far as Edre Cooper. He was limited yesterday in a practice that didn't happen and a walkthrough. Full participant today, so no worry there. Did not participate still. Obviously, Nate Hobbs with a knee injury, so it doesn't look like he's playing. Did not participate. Van Ness is back in a limited participation form for the Green Bay Packers. Quay Walker with that calf, full participant, so that obviously is good. Christian Watson out there, limited participant, as was Dontavian Wicks and Savion Williams. Obviously, we expect all of those guys to play, which obviously is a good thing as well. Graham Gano, the kicker for the Giants, he's placed on IR today with a neck injury. So they're going to have to go find themselves a kicker. I don't even know who else they have. Did they pick up a kicker today? I didn't even look to see.
Not that I've seen, but I'll go double check.
And if it was before the trade deadline, the Packers could have traded one of these guys and just had them go over there and kick for the Giants.
I also want to point out that Rob Demoski put out there on Twitter. Also, Marshawn Lloyd and Jaden Reed appear to have ramped up their rehab, both still on IR, so no photo or video allowed. But they were working up a sweat off to the side.
No. New rule being implied right now on this show. I don't want to hear a word about Marshawn Lloyd and anything he's doing in recovery until he's on the damn football field for more than a game. Until that happens,
You don't care that he's sweating on the sideline right now?
I don't care. I don't care. I do not care.
Jaden Reed at least is good news. I think that's something we can be excited about. Yeah.
No more Marshawn Lloyd updates on this show. Tune into the Mason Crosby Show. Maybe they'll tell you about Marshawn Lloyd. 9 to noon, John Kuhn. Maybe he'll tell you. Josh and Trevor, very happy, positive show. Maybe he'll tell you. I'm fed up and done with these medical updates, and then I get my hopes up of like, all right, here comes my guy Marshawn Lloyd, and then he gets hurt again. Nah,
I was going to say, Sparky used to love to talk about Marshawn Lloyd.
Love Marshawn Lloyd. I think he's super uber talented, but I'm done getting my heart broken every time I think he's going to play. So, no, we're done. Banning Marshawn Lloyd on this show until he plays more than a game. I'm going to clarify this. That does not mean, hey, Sparky, he's playing Sunday. Can we talk about him? No. He has to complete the game without getting hurt.
I think
then we'll talk.
I'm going to say 2 games, not even just 1 game at this point. 2 games.
I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy. 1 would be fine. You asking for 2 seems like an awful lot and unrealistic probably at this point, which is fine. So there is your update on the injuries from the Green Bay Packers, which is obviously good. Also, earlier today, Matt LaFleur did talk in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin, where you're listening to us on WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton, 99.7 FM. Maybe you're listening in Wausau, 93.9 The Game, or in Duluth Superior, 710 The Game, and Milwaukee, 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Game. Okay, so a couple of the different things from this press conference from Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur on the 4th and 1 play, and how it's apparently not all that crazy for a defense to know what's coming.
To rehash one more thing from Monday's game, on that 4th and 1 at the end of the game there, what needs to happen to prevent the Eagles from knowing what's coming, and if you ever get in that situation again, when you're obviously in a hurry up and all that, what's the alternative? What's the adjustment, I should say?
Well, we got to come off on the ball. I mean, I think that's the number one thing is you got to come off the ball. Like I said, it's not like the first time we've ever ran that play. Certainly you can do things in terms of changing up your how you call it with your code words to try to hide it, and we're constantly tinkering with that. I mean, like I told you guys the other day, it's the same play we scored a touchdown on. So unfortunately they got a better jump off the ball, and we never allowed our runner to get the line of scrimmage. I'm thinking that if he gets the line of scrimmage, he's going to get a yard. Bill, we do that all the time offensively. We know when corners are coming. We know when backers are coming. This is not like the first time in the history of football that people know what's coming. That happens pretty regularly, I would say. It's film study. It's things that happen in game. Bottom line is you got to be able to block it. And sometimes it's not easy, but sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. That's just the bottom line. That's football.
How about this? How about the running back run the play the way it was supposed to be ran to begin with? He heard him say it and then said, well, I'm not going that way. I'm going to go the other way. If he actually would have went left, there was room on the left side. He might have had to make one guy miss. He had to make like 8 dudes miss on the right side when he went the wrong way. I mean, you can have that conversation, but I got one. Here's the follow-up. If I was up there, say like not Micah Parsons, but somebody that's been there a minute, Quay Walker maybe, right? Or Edrin Cooper, guys that are younger that are probably more honest. Hey man, like how many times would you say this year you all knew the play before it happened on the opposition and stuffed it for a loss? How many times do you think that's happened? I don't know. How many times do you think?
I would say at least once per game. You can read a formation.
At least once per game.
You can read a type of calls that are coming. You can read a formation. Like you're reading through these playbooks and watching the film for 2 weeks in advance to this game, especially for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is a situation where, yeah, this defense can't read it. Now, it doesn't always result in a stuff, but sometimes you can at least put yourself in the right position a little bit earlier in these situations. I think the other thing that's crazy to me is not only did Josh Jacobs go the wrong way, and that didn't help because the offensive line is blocking one way and they don't know he's coming that way. It's crazy. But then if that's the case and Jordan Love can hear them out here calling out the play and Matt LaFleur can understand that quickly on the sideline, why is, and I don't know whose fault this is, Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur, Why is there not an audible to be called in a situation like this where you know the defense is reading what you're doing, and just to say flip the play, tell the offensive line to flip the play and go the right way then for Josh Jacobs. Like it's that easy. Why are one of you guys not doing that?
There was apparently no out for him. He was stuck.
That's crazy.
So you would have had him call a timeout, which they had, by the way. They could have called a timeout.
No reason to save timeouts in that situation. No.
Matt LaFleur talking about how he's going to get the running game going.
Well, I think every week's an opportunity, but ultimately it's going to come down to our ability to execute. I mean, that's a very good front. I think you've seen that. They've gotten out of position at times, and that's always the goal for an offense is you want to try to find a way to cut the defense, get a guy out of the gap, and that's usually when those gashes tend to happen. So, but every week's a new challenge, and they've done a pretty good job at times with their run defense as well. So we just got to try to get them out of a gap somehow, some way, and then hit the right gap.
Said nothing. He could have had
Just
that answer
football.
in week 1 or week 2.
That's all he did was just explain
Nothing
football there.
changed. How about this? We got to play better up front. That's what has to happen. Like, we got to physically move people backwards to get some type of push at the line of scrimmage. That's what's got to happen. Y'all watching the game, they got to do their jobs better up front. Next question. Like, again, I'm not asking you to be Aaron Glenn, right? I don't want that. But it's not that hard, man. Like, guest after guest after guest on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, show after show after show. Offensive line stinks. They're all not playing up to their level. They all have to do better jobs. Say that instead of some mumbo jumbo high school coach answer that high school coach could have given me.
Right. Again, like he's talking to high school players in this situation. Like, it's obvious what the problems are. We talk about this. You can see what's occurring on the field as a fan. You don't need to hear Matt LaFleur say that.
Nope.
What you need to hear is how Matt LaFleur is going to fix it. Again, it's not about going back and rehashing what we already know. It's about, okay, there's a problem. We need to move forward and fix it.
Correct. Trell, north side of Milwaukee, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Trell?
Hey, Sparky, I'm sorry. I need you to get me off this ledge right now because I listened to some of the Matt LaFleur press conference earlier.
Yeah.
And there was one question out of all of them that got to just pee me off, and I'm just like,
which one?
Or maybe I'm overreacting. They asked him, does he need to make this offense more aggressive? In some form like that. And the guy answered the question. The way he answered the question was like, well, you know, we're going to struggle. Like, he literally said, we're going to struggle if something happens. Like, there was no confidence in his answer. There was no, we're going to get this fixed and we're going to figure it out. It was just like he had kind of come to a realization like they're just going to struggle. And I hated hearing that from him as a coach that's already in the hole. I want somebody who's going to fight to dig themselves up out that hole as a coach. Like, don't lose your confidence. Don't hold your head down. You're having a couple bad weeks, but you got to have some type of up in your step, man, when you're at that podium. Because to me, if that's the way he's game planning, like you're thinking you're going to struggle. Well, dude, on Sunday, you're going to struggle.
That's right. Yep. Absolutely.
So I don't know. That just pissed me off. And I'm like, oh, my God, this guy is really, I don't know. Maybe I was overreacting.
You know what I'd like to see?
But I
know what I want to see, and I know I'm not going to see it. But wouldn't it be funny if they just came out against the Giants and showed a completely different type of offense in this game? Instead of coming out and running on predictable downs, they came out shotgun first drive and ran hurry up 2-minute offense on the first drive and pressed the issue and pressed the ball down the field instead of coming out methodical and handoff and da-da-da-da-da, but came out and changed it and changed pace and ran hurry up on, different drives throughout the game when the other team wasn't expecting it. Give me something like that, because you want to know what, Trell, thanks for the call. And tell me if I'm wrong, Charlie. You played. That's going to screw up a defense too, because they can't get off the field. So now you're running on. There ain't enough time to get that defensive lineman's butt run off the field and back on. And if you try, I'm going to snap the ball and get a penalty and get a free play on you. So from that perspective, that helps the offensive line too, to a certain degree, I think.
It does, but you need to have a solid 5 offensive linemen that you always have to have on the field that aren't going to be subbing in and out, which the Packers don't have, and wide receivers who need to stay on the field that aren't always subbing in and out, which the Packers just do not have. You have to have a team that's able to keep going on the field, because if you sub players out, the defense gets an opportunity to sub their players out.
Sure.
And the Packers just don't have packages right now that allow them to run full series where they are consistently keeping the same guys on the field.
I'll tell you right now, I'm playing my 5 offensive linemen. If Golden is back, it's Wicks, Golden, Dobbs, and Watson. Those are my wide receivers, 4 wides, my quarterback, my running back, and let's roll. I mean, that to me, that is how I would like to see this play. 4 wides, running back, quarterback. Running back can run out of the backfield. You can hand it to him, do whatever you want. 5 offensive linemen. I'm not playing with a tight end, and let's go. Nobody's coming off the field, and we're going to press it. Again, there's none of this on tape for the Giants to see. None of it. And secondly, all this trust issue talk, which I doubt LaFleur listens to Sports Talk Radio. Hi, Coach, if you are listening to WNFL. But in this case, okay, you don't think I trust him? Watch this. Jordan, 2-minute offense, go. And let him go. Let him call his own offense. Let him call his plays. Let's see what happens. They're not a good football team. And I know they lost to Cleveland, they lost to Carolina. I get it. But who cares? It's the first drive. If it goes haywire and you got a punt, fine. If he throws a pick, like Orlovsky said, fine. It's the first drive of the game. See what happens. And you want to know what? If they have success, run it a couple possessions later. Next 2-3 possessions later, when they're not thinking you're going to run it again and see what happens. Man, that K-gun offense, I'm going to date myself, that Jim Kelly used to run with the Buffalo Bills was dangerous, man. It killed defenses when they would get into that stuff. This here would provide 2 things. 1, you're not afraid to let him sling it. And 2, you trust him to make the right calls. You essentially take care of 2 issues by doing 1 simple thing.
But that's if
okay.
If
you
he wants
to say you're right, Sparky. You got to say
that's if he feels like everybody that's saying these things are wrong. And I don't know if right now I fully believe that Matt LaFleur trusts everybody that's on the field all the time in order to run a 2-minute offense.
Hey, Jordan, love, if you're listening, hey, man, that can be your idea. You don't got to credit me. You can just go to Matt and be like, hey, man, I got an idea. What do you think of this? Don't tell him you heard it on Sports Talk Radio. But just go, hey, what do you think about doing this the first drive? What do you think? Because they talk about first drive, scripted plays. What do y'all want to run? Blah, 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 blah. Why not change it up, man? Let's do something different. See what happens. We're in New York. Let's see.
I think a Sparky package is the perfect name for that, though.
Whatever.
I think that's great.
You want. Doesn't matter to me what you call it. I just like to see it because it would be something different. And your offensive lineman would have a tired defensive line as well as you're moving down the field on them, too. And they're not going to be able to sub on and off, nothing like that. You want to blitz? I got 4 wides, baby. Come on with it. I'm going to hit somebody quick if you decide to come at me. I don't know.
That means Matt LaFleur has to do something different, and we just haven't seen him do that yet.
Right, and that's what we need to see him do. In a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, and more dippable. New chicken tenders are here. Some may call them tendies, and yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. New Wendy's signature, new sweet chili, or new scorching hot. Or choose one of the classics, honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. It's got to have tendies. It's got to be Wendy's. Coming up next, it's your time. It's your time. There are so many emotions in life that we all go through on a day-to-day basis. We want to talk about the happy emotion. When you're happy, you're smiling. You smile so much, your cheeks hurt, your face hurt. You ever smile that much, or you ever laugh so hard your face hurts?
I've been
because
there.
you're so excited, or something is so funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
when you yelled Peacock at State Fair, that was pretty funny. My cheeks were hurting pretty good during that.
Poor Jack Pembroke. Catch Peacock, Jack Pembroke, and Charlie Usen Saturday morning. This week, an abbreviated version, 1 hour version, 9 to 10 o'clock with Wisconsin Sports Weekend. Now, the happy emotion. Andy Herman brought this up. Did you cut that? You got that?
I do. Yep.
So Andy Herman was on the Mason Crosby show with me and Tommy Wirtz yesterday when I was filling in for Mason. And he asked me what would make me happy in this Packer Giants game. And then we started going back and forth. I'm going to ask you the same question. Is there any way for the Packers to make you happy versus the Giants, to where you're calling into Tommy Wirtz and me on the Green Bay Football Postgame Show, powered by Lakeland University, and you're going to be just smiling when you call in? Like there are certain guys when they call in. When Terrell calls in and he's happy, you can hear the man smiling through the phone, right? You can hear him smiling, right?
Easy.
And when he's mad like today, oh, you know what's coming.
So I think Johnny on the north side is always smiling. I don't think that man ever stops.
Always happy, right? So that's what we want to know from you. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky here, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. It is a beautiful Thursday. Football Friday almost upon us. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Tommy Wirtz filling in for the vacationing Josh Albrecht tomorrow morning from 6 to 9. 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff and Brandon Snide, the producer extraordinaire. And then noon to 2, Mason Crosby show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. And Tommy Wirtz is on every show. So he'll be hanging out there as well, brought to you by Verizon. And then, of course, this show 2 to 5. Ben Solak of ESPN joins us tomorrow at 2:20. Looking forward to that. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette, 2:40. And then 4 o'clock hour, we got fantasy football tomorrow, like always, at 4:20, 4:40. Follow the money with our guy Austin Herdini at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming up tomorrow. Question is simple. Is there any way for the Packers to make you happy against the Giants coming up on Sunday? That is the question. It's not all that hard. This is the exchange that Andy Herman and myself, was Tommy Wirtz a part of this too? Do you remember? He was. So it was Andy Herman, Tommy Wirtz, and myself on the Mason Crosby show, because Mason and Mitch were both not there yesterday, having this conversation.
What would it take for you in this game to be happy following that game?
A win.
Oh, no, that's not it. It's a 14-point. I mean,
you can't have expectations of anything close to that after this.
I'm saying what would make you happy, not satisfied.
I want
expectations. Is like, just win the damn game. But like to make people happy out of this game, to make people like legitimately happy. Like I think it might be like a 3-score win.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible because they're all going to say it's a crappy team.
Whether it's possible or not. Yeah. I'm not setting the expectation for that. Let me be very clear. I think this is a grinded out win by 3 kind of game if you can get out of there with a win. I really do. But I'm saying, if in order for people to be happy coming out of this game, I think you're like, even if they win by like 10, and for the most part, people are going to be like, yeah, but this still went wrong, and you're still 1-3
suck. That's what they're going to say regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So for people, I'm not saying you in particular, but for people to be happy, I bet it takes at least like a 3-score win in order for happiness to take place.
I don't think happiness will be back with this Packer fan base until they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. Then you'll start to get people back on the happy bandwagon of, okay, this team can make a run now. They figured things out. Until then, these next 2 weeks, it's not going to matter. They want to see them beat the Lions, I'm sure, get back in front in this division. And don't you dare lose a game to the Chicago Bears, Packers. Don't you dare lose to Caleb Williams.
They were 2-0 on top of the world, just acquired Micah Parsons, had beat the Detroit Lions and Washington Commanders. And there were like not one, multiple people on social media. And I get it's maybe the loud minority. It was the loud minority, whatever. There are people saying you've got to get rid of Matt so that Jeff Hafley can be the head coach of this team. Like that's what, like you were 2-0 top of the world. Everything was peachy and everyone's still like, yeah, Jeff should be the head coach of this team. It's like the level of absurdity that there needs to be for happiness is the bar is insanely high right now.
All right. The question is this: is there any way for you as a fan to make you happy about this Packers team, depending on whatever result it is that you'd like to see against the Giants? Any way to make you happy? Or no matter what happens in a win, is it going to be Giants suck? I don't care. Because I think a lot of that's going to take place. And we'll find out. Got the Green Bay football postgame show afterwards. Nicolay Law, talking text line. Let's see where we're all at on this one. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming live on X and, of course, on YouTube. Check out the brand new website, wisportsradio.com, and you can live stream there as well. All right, Charlie Usen, I ask you, what do you think will make Packer fans happy?
I think what will make Packers fans happy, first of all, I think Tommy's right. I think it has to be a 14-plus point win. I think you have to go out there and just dominate the Giants. But I think the other thing that will make Packers fans happy, and I think the biggest thing that has made people unhappy so far, is just the inconsistency of play for this Packers team. If you go out there, despite not having a Tucker Kraft or not having an Elton Jenkins, but you throw to Luke Musgrave the same way you're throwing to Tucker Kraft, you run a similar style of offense to when you had Tucker Kraft and Elton Jenkins, you can win some football games that way, man. And I think Packers fans will be happy that this team just has an identity at that point, and then you go out and win by a ton of points.
I think when we look at this and how this sets up, I don't think there's any chance that those that want LaFleur gone are going to change their mind off of this game. I don't think there's any chance that those are critical of Jordan Love and don't believe in Jordan Love are going to change their mind off of this game against the New York Giants. I don't think those people are going to move because it feels like that most of them have their feet firmly implanted in cement and ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Not going to change my mind. No, you're not, because they beat the damn Giants. I think the only chance you have of swaying the momentum of this fan base right now is to go whip the Lions on Thanksgiving. Win your games between now and then, right? Win this game, beat the Vikings, do what you're supposed to do. And then on Thanksgiving, in front of the whole country, let Jordan Love and the Packers put a whooping on the Lions like they did 2 years ago on Thanksgiving. Do that. Then I think some of these people will start to sway back to, okay, maybe I was wrong. Then. But I don't think anything you do this Sunday is going to sway most of these people. I could be wrong. We'll see. Nicolay Law Talk, text line 414-677-1250. Let's roll. Justin in Watertown. You're up next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky, how you doing?
Good.
So it's all about consistency, right? Like you were saying, they need to show over the next 3 weeks, their offense needs to show that they can do something, right?
Yep.
The reason we have issues with LaFleur is because he's the one calling the plays. And what's been our worst part of our team in the last 3 weeks? The offense. The offense looks atrocious.
Yep.
How can you only put 7 points up on the board and you scored those in the fourth quarter? We're watching a team that's not scoring any points, and I'm not exaggerating. They're just not. And so they need to score points consistently over the next 3 weeks to show me that they're a legitimate contender. If they can't score points, our defense is the real deal. They're good, and they're going to be good all year. The offense needs to carry their water, and they're not doing it.
Can I bring something up to you real quickly? Do you realize outside of that Browns game, going into the Panthers game, if you include the Cowboys tie and their wins, they were averaging over 30 points a game, if you take Cleveland out, going into that game against Carolina. Now, against Carolina and the Eagles, they have struggled offensively. I would say they were doing more than carrying their own weight for a majority of this season outside of the last 2 weeks.
I'd say the issue is the 3 losses. They've lost to a team where they gave up 16 points, 13 points, and 10 points. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You can't win an NFL game and you're only giving up those points.
Correct. Absolutely right.
That is an identity. They need consistency.
All right. Very good. Thanks for the call. That was my point. We talk about consistency. I thought they were pretty damn good consistency-wise outside the Cleveland game up to the last 2. Now they've been consistently crap for the last 2 weeks offensively. That's why, again, I tend to think this is a valley that they will ride themselves out of at some point. Now, I'm not promising you anything that it's going to happen against the Giants. Do I hope it happens? Yes. Will it happen? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on Sunday. You and me and Charlie and everybody else, we'll see you together. And then afterwards, we'll talk about it on the post-game show. You can call in and go crazy. We'll be on 2 hours, 3 to 5 on Sunday. And Tommy, if it goes wrong, we'll be screaming and yelling until he turns red. And we'll all talk about it and figure it out together. I'm asking you right now, I'd like to know what's going to make you happy. Because I just want to hear somebody say, hey, man, like Charlie said, if they win by 2 touchdowns or more, I'm back in on the Packers. Like, they're good. I'm in on LaFleur, Love. We're good. I just don't think, because you heard Justin, he said the next 3 weeks they have to be good.
I don't know if you can do that. No.
Next 3 weeks. That's
got some tough teams, Ed.
Right. We'll see. Todd is up next. Where's Todd calling from? Driving back from Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Todd joins us now. What's up, Todd?
Yeah, hey guys, enjoy the show.
Thanks.
Yeah, so what would make me happy? I'm going to take a real middle of the road approach. I don't need to see, you win by 21 or whatever. Give me a solid performance, all 3 phases of the game. Show me that LaFleur has heard, some of the saber rattling going on about his play calling. Put a little diversity in that offense, but just give me a good fundamental game, offense, defense, special teams. Get the win, get us back on the right track, and quiet all the detractors down. But you got to come out, you got to do it, start to finish. No minimal penalties. Just play a solid game, all 3 phases. That's what would make me happy, and win the game.
I hope there's about 1 million more of you listening to this show that are good with that. I would be more than fine. If that's the answer, I think we could have a happy Sunday afternoon if everybody's with you, Todd. Have a safe drive back from Arkansas. That'd be great. I could envision this. I could envision Jordan Love throwing 3 touchdown passes. Packers win by 10. McManus misses 2 field goals. And the whole postgame show is about McManus. And we don't even talk about the offense and anything they did. And it'll be sidetracked by the field goal kicker missing 2 field goals in a game in which they won by 10 points.
I mean, you can't let that happen, Sparky. You got to at least go back and talk about what we've been talking about for this past 2 weeks.
Listen, I got to talk about what they want to talk about on postgame show.
I get it.
It's a little bit different than doing a daily show. On a postgame show, you got to roll with the punches because in my mind, everybody does postgame shows differently, okay? But in my time doing postgame shows, I like doing postgame shows where you just open up the phones and the text line and everybody can go where they want to go. Right? Just roll. Wherever we go, we go. We'll just roll the punches and go, me and Tommy. And that's, I think, the best way. You try to pigeonhole it somewhere, then I think you lose a lot of your eyes. Like, we be listening, like, I don't give a damn about the offensive line play. I want to talk about McManus missing those kicks, man. Why are we talking about the offensive line play? Okay, they beat a bad team. So what? Like that is, to me, a key about doing a post-game show. The key is getting a lot of interaction from the fans with the hosts, going back and forth and, doing that. Now, when they win, do you get as many calls and texts? No, because nobody wants to call and congratulate them. Oh, boy, you were awesome. Like, no, you lose like they did to the Eagles and the Panthers, full phone lines, and away we go, off to the races, right?
Just in case you were wondering, our poll from earlier in the show,
so
if you were the Packers head coach, who would you have kick on Sunday? Just kind of going with Sparky was saying there before, after 40 votes so far and still 21 hours left in the poll, Lucas Haversick has an 80% take of that poll over Brandon McManus with the 20%.
When I used to do the afternoon show in Milwaukee years ago, I always used to say people get smarter in the 5 o'clock hour. So you still have a chance to prove me correct as this poll is up. That's not, I mean, hardly nobody voted if it's only 40 people. WI Sports Radio. Go and vote. Who would you have kick on Sunday, McManus or the other guy? If you've noticed, and maybe you've not been paying attention, I rarely say that dude's name. Very hardly ever will I say, because he's the other guy. I don't care about the other guy. I care about my guy, and my guy that I just gave a brand new contract to is Brandon McManus. I'm not going to learn the other guy's name or care about saying the other guy's name until McManus is no longer here. Until then, you're the other guy.
I'll make sure to keep up with everybody. Let them know it's Lucas Haversick, and also let them know that the Traders Craig Council for you too.
Who?
Craig Council, your favorite.
Never heard of him. Brian, South Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Brian?
Hey, guys. Yeah, I would say, no real definite point spread. I mean, obviously you'd like to see at least a 10-point win and just have them play solid football. That they were actually not that far away from Philadelphia. They made some key mistakes and key penalties at key times in that game that just took them right out of it. You want to see that type of thing not happen. And if they can do that and they can just show some consistency pushing the ball up and down the field, I think that would go a long way for, helping people's angst a little bit.
I think the other part about this too, when we talk about this Packers team, is going to be not only points scored, but how much pressure is Jordan Love under and how big are the holes that the Packers running backs get to run through, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, their offensive line, it has really struggled the last couple of weeks. And, Banks, the big free agent they brought in, I just don't agree with how they handle that because, number one, Jenkins did not want to go to center. So, and he's not really playing that well at center, and Banks has been less than what they've advertised him at coming in. So I just, two positions that they just are getting not very good play out of currently.
That's correct. Yeah, Brian, thanks for the call, man. Don't be a stranger. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1252. A text message. We go. Dominic in Hale says, happiness? Our go-to or star players have great games. Golden, Watson, Parsons. I'm just going to disagree slightly. Matthew Golden doesn't belong in that conversation. Matthew Golden does not belong in the conversation of go-to, but Matthew Golden hasn't gotten gone to more than like 3 times in a game all year.
Right. And half of those are end arounds and stuff to get him involved that's not in the pass game.
Yeah, no, I'm not, I would love for Matthew Golden to have like 125 yards receiving and 8 targets. I would be ecstatic. I'm not holding my breath on it, however. The 920, I'll be looking for Jacobs to get his first 100-plus rushing yards game with big running lanes made by the offensive line. That'd be wonderful.
I'd be happy with that, yeah.
Yeah. Another one from the 920. Let Love play. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. Start the game in the hurry-up offense, 4 wides, a running back, screw the tight end position, let Love run his own offense and march down the field and see what happens. And if it backfires and it doesn't work, cool. But if it works and you get points and it looks good, okay, next couple possessions, do what you do. And then maybe a drive to start the second half or in the second quarter, you go back to it again when they're not expecting it. They haven't seen you do it at all year. Here's your chance. Because guess what? Now, the other teams see that you do it at random points in the game. Now they got to prepare for it a little bit too.
Do what the defenses are doing against you. Teams are coming into these games against the Packers and running defenses that they've never run before, defenses that they've never put on film, and it's messing up the Packers right now. Do it right back.
414, Rick in Pewaukee just messaged and could have paid Josh Myers half of what Aaron Banks is making and kept Jenkins at guard. Yes, you could have.
Yes, you could have.
Absolutely. But they clearly were out on Josh Myers for, 2 seasons, it appeared. For at least
There's
2
not
seasons.
a single point last season where anybody we talked to, Ryan Wood,
Nope.
Andy Herman, any of those guys thought Josh Myers was coming back.
They all knew he was going to be gone. Prize picks, baby. Best way for you to win cash on the Packers, Bucks this sports season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your takes into cash all season long. All we're talking about is daily fantasy. More or less on 2 or more player stat projections. They got the stacks, which means you pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Plus, you can also follow other prize pick players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button. Check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. How cool is that as well? Plus, Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Coming up next, things Sparky missed here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Charlie using over there, Steve Sparky, Fifer here, and it's time for this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, let's get to what we missed today. This is pretty good. This is from the Pablo Torre Finds Out show, podcast, whatever. One of the guys on here is David Sampson, who is the former president of the Marlins, who we've had on this show before. Very entertaining dude. And then the other is John Skipper, who used to run ESPN for all those years. And they were talking about the stalemate between essentially Google and Disney.
I would be shocked that after 2 weeks if they haven't lost a six-figure number of subscribers. And that was
like to 9,900,000?
Was somewhere between 100,000 to 999,999. And I would guess it's somewhere in the middle of that. But I would guess they've lost 250,000 subscribers, probably.
But the pain tolerance, right? So Google and Disney are both enormous companies. Google, particularly formidable, though, when it comes to who gets to win a war of attrition in terms of that tolerance.
Well, they certainly, it's barely material to the Alphabet company that they will lose 200. I'm making it up. I do not have a source. 250,000 subscribers headed to 500,000 subscribers. That matters to them because their goal is to become the largest distributor. And this is going to hinder that. And they're going to discover the power of ESPN to make people change their subscription. These people are our kids, and they want to see the Iowa game next week. And they play away from home, and they're going to be unhappy when they can't watch that game, and they might switch their carrier.
I couldn't possibly disagree with you more. Because if you're a Google and you're YouTube TV, you want to make Disney a zit, and you're happy to pop it. You're happy for it to get big and red, and you will do anything to crush them. And if it requires this sort of standing where you are dark, you're losing 250, 500,000. The whole argument they're having is what happens when YouTube takes over the world. The whole argument they're having is YouTube wanting more money when they become the player in this space.
Well, I would put it slightly different, which is Disney has the pain tolerance to put up with this for a while. And the pain that will be inflicted upon them if they pierce the MFNs, we'll talk about what that is greater, a lot more than $5 million.
I don't know who blinks on this deal, but I got a feeling it's going to be Google and YouTube, Charlie.
You would think so, but at the same time, like they were saying before, they have so much more than just ESPN. Yeah, ESPN and football is a huge part of how they've gotten to this point, but now they probably think they can jump off that with all these other deals going on right now.
That's probably so, no question about that. Hey, I love Potawatomi. Potawatomi's giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs right now through the 20th. You can earn entries playing with your rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. That's tonight, by the way. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go on to a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Coming up next, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Wirtz. Tomorrow, Football Friday, kicking off at 6 a.m. with Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Tommy Wirtz. Then, of course, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. Noon to 2, Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder and Ellis. And then back here from 2 to 5 with us, featuring Ben Solak and Ryan Wood in the first hour of the show. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one. Toodles.